Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be looking at another Carneades.org original entitled Against the Atheists. Before we get going, there's an important distinction that I'm going to make. Within the definition of an atheist, you can have a dogmatic atheist or a skeptical atheist. A dogmatic atheist claims to know that God does not exist. They are a disbeliever. The skeptical atheist, on the other hand, makes no claims as to God's existence. They are a non-believer. The skeptical atheist makes no claims one way or another, whereas the dogmatic atheist makes the negative claim against the theist. In this video, I'm going to be arguing against the dogmatic atheist. If you're a skeptical atheist, congratulations, you're a good skeptic, at least in terms of God. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through a series of possible claims that the dogmatic atheist could be putting forward and explain why they're problematic. First, the claim might be that no God exists. This might be a bit problematic because people have worshipped as gods things like cows, mountains, and lightning. And I'm sure the dogmatic atheist would want to say that cows, mountains, and lightning all exist. So the claim that no God exists doesn't seem to really rest on some firm footing. What about the claim that no God with supernatural powers exists? Well, what if you had a God that was omnipotent, omniscient, but really apathetic about the way things turned out? They could have the power to do anything, but in fact do nothing. Just because they have supernatural powers doesn't mean they perform any actions. This seems also problematic. What about no God that uses his supernatural powers exists? Now we've solved the problem of having a God who doesn't really use the powers, but what about if we had an omnipotent, omniscient, and distant God? God might have used his powers a long time ago, or just very, very far away. Or perhaps God does have the power to do anything, but all he really did was once upon a time move an atom a very small distance. There's no way we can really prove it one way or another. What about an all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good God does not exist? This is the most common claim put forward by the dogmatic atheist in the form of something called the problem of evil. Basically saying that an omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent God does not exist. If you're unfamiliar with the problem of evil, you should check out my video on it. This, however, doesn't really work out, because someone could respond that, in fact, evil does not exist, and completely get rid of the logical problem of evil. And you could do this a number of ways by saying that, in fact, whatever God says is good and fall on one horn of the Euthyphro dilemma. There are other ways also to get out of the problem of evil, such as Plantinga's free will defense, and so on and so forth. One way or another, it doesn't seem like the dogmatic atheist has really put forward a claim that's going to completely disprove God's existence. It might give us some questions about a very specific view of morality and a very specific God, and it might show that a few things are inconsistent. But it doesn't seem to completely disprove that God. So, what would be the next step for the dogmatic atheist? Perhaps they say that a specific God, the Christian God, for example, does not exist. The problem with this, however, is that you could have a lot of different versions of the Christian God, and in fact, we do. People believe in all sorts of different shapes and sizes of gods. They interpret the Bible in many different ways, and so on and so forth. And while the atheist perhaps could show that maybe one or two of these gods have inconsistencies, there are so many out there. Surely not all of them are logically inconsistent. It doesn't really make sense to say that they don't exist at all. Therefore, we're left with the final recourse of the dogmatic atheist, which is a turn a little bit towards skepticism, to make the claim that God cannot be proved. This is commonly put out there, saying that because you can't prove God, we can't have that claim. We can't have God exists as a claim that's out there. The problem, of course, is the claim that God cannot be proved cannot itself be proved or disproved. So holding that claim is just as irrational as holding the claim that God exists. As only viciously circular reasoning seems to be able to prove this claim, it seems the dogmatic atheist is at an impasse. This has been a Carneades.org original. If you are a dogmatic atheist with another argument, please present it below. For more videos, check out Carneades.org and stay skeptical, everybody.